pretty big and all. It's just I have this one problem where his toes tend to... Oh, no. Hello, everyone. It is Briximus Prime, back for another Transformers action figure review. And today we're going to be taking a very special review, as a matter of fact. And today we're going to be taking a look at the Transformers Legacy, Commander Class Menasor, the Combiner. And because I now have all 5 of the required Stunticons of the original team to combine them into Menasor. And basically in this video we're going to be going over the transformation of the combine into the combine mode, and then we're also gonna look at the actual combined robot, because I've already done videos individually taking a look at every single one of these guys individually. So if you missed out on any of those and want to know more about the separate members of the team, I have a video on every single one of these guys separately. So, and I also have a playlist with just the Menasor Combiner parts in it, so you can go and check that out. But anyway, let's just get right on into it by starting with getting these guys into their vehicle modes, and then we'll move on from there. Menasor has now been fully combined with all of the original G1 team. And here is taking an up-close look at Menasor. Now, I do have one issue with the head here. Don't get me wrong, the head here looks pretty great. Sorry, I'm allergic to stupidity. So, Menasor here has a very nice head sculpt, and I like the silver in the face and the red eyes, but my problem here is that when you try to turn the head, he just ends up looking into his big old shoulder pad, and then it doesn't end up looking like a very natural pose. So, I wish there was a way that they were able to work around this, because it does get a little annoying. Maybe an extra hinge joint to make him look up. There is this transformation joint. I mean, you could try to maybe do something like that. I mean, that doesn't look too bad, but again, there is still the gap there. So, but overall, it's not a huge complaint. It's just something I wanted to point out. But overall, I think the mechanical detail and everything on this guy in the combine mode looks awesome. I also really love the incorporation of the arms here in a natural way, and it ends up being more cohesive for the mode, as well as over here on this arm as well. And if I'm being completely honest, I like how Drag Strip looks a little bit more, but overall, I think both of them look just fine. And also the way, and when everything combines on, the individual, arm parts, and, the way how Motor Master combines into this chest area, it all feels really secure and really solid. Almost as if this guy isn't even made up of multiple figures. He feels like one giant figure. And again, the mechanical detail is present throughout the whole figure. I also like his big old purple fists right here. Would have liked maybe if they added an extra hinge joint to give him some opening hands. I mean, he's big enough for it. But it doesn't bug me too much. And then, again, there is a lot of mechanical detail, even down here on the legs. And I like a lot of this panel lining and everything, and these are his purple toes. But I do have an issue with the toes. You guys saw it earlier in the video. In the intro, the toes tend to kind of untab a little bit, and because he's so heavy, it makes him kind of lean forward, kind of doing the Michael Jackson pose, and then he'll lean forward too far, and then he'll fall over. And as you can see, he did damage my backdrop. So, just FYI, that is something that I did have a problem with on Menasor, because he does tend to fall down because of these toes. There is an upgrade kit that's coming out that allows for the feet to extend bigger. And so I think it's supposed to give him more stability in the feet. So I might end up getting that upgrade kit. We'll see in the future. Be sure to subscribe to the channel so you can stay up to date on if I end up, because I'll definitely do a video on that if I get the upgrade kit. Even the back of the figure looks really good. I like how his calves look with the 2 cars, Breakdown and Wild Rider, on there. And overall, I think everything looks great. Even the backpack doesn't look too cluttery or anything. He looks pretty good in from all angles. I'm not a big fan of these legs down here because they like to slide off of those little combiner pegs way too easily, and I'll be like in the middle opposing this guy and like trying to make him bend his knee, and then they'll just slide out when I'm trying to, you know, bend it back down again. So like, oh boy, as you can see, the other one just fell off. Yeah, this is my biggest issue with the figure because, again, it's the only part of him that doesn't feel very solid. Now, this isn't necessarily a complaint about the actual figure. It's more about an engineering choice that just makes me go, why did they do that in the first place? Well, for some reason, I think it's weird how the cars are not here on the front of the legs and they're on the back of the legs, where if you rotate these around, I just think this looks more natural for a combiner. Another transformation thing I also appreciate is when you're taking the calves and you're combining them on, like Wild Rider and Breakdown, when you put this guy on and combine him to the leg, he pushes this big blue button here, and when you slide him on and combine him on there, as he pushes that purple button, it allows for these two doors to come in and fill in that giant hole inside the calf. Now, I wanted to go over Menasor's accessories. So because this guy is, you know, the majority of it is Motormaster, they included the Menasor accessories with Motormaster, but because they included him with Motormaster and they wanted to sell him as his own figure, they feel very half-baked. Basically, they want you to have this little tower thing here that's made up of the leftover piece of the trailer, and it's meant to be a little cannon for Menasor to grab and use, but the thing is, this gun is like way too small for Menasor to be using. Even when you take this part off and you just have it as this gun, this looks decent, but then what am I supposed to do with this? I hate how this is just here. It's just a big, hollow, like, piece of parts for me. I've complained about the sword once before in the Motormaster review because the sword here, Hasbro decided to go kind of like a half and half situation where it's just big enough to be a little oversized in Motormaster's hands, but it's a little too small to be in Menasor's hands. I think this sword is just absolute trash. Trash! Another thing about the accessories, I did manage to find some really good weapon storage to store all of the accessories from the individual figures on their own individual, you know, like parts of the combiner, and it does add to give him some extra. It does add to give him some extra guns on the arms, as well as just a nice way to tuck away the guns on his legs. But don't get me wrong, the figure itself is really good. I'm just disappointed with the accessories. Disappointed! Going over Menasor's poseability, he does have a swivel at the head, and again, you can use this to hinge him up and down, but that's, you know, a transformation joint. He does have rotation at the shoulders on very nice ratchet joints. They can move outward pretty far on those tight ratchet joints as well. Yeah, that's another complaint. Sometimes these untab as I'm trying to move them, but honestly, it's not that big an issue compared to some other stuff. He does get a ratcheting bicep swivel. He does get 90 degrees of bend at the elbow, and that's on both of them. And then he also does get some nice ratcheting wrist rotation. Waist swivel, which is nice and buttery smooth. Really like how that is. The legs here can ratchet forward. They can ratchet back. They can ratchet out to the side. He does get a nice thigh swivel, which surprisingly isn't a ratchet joint. He does have a nice ratcheting bend at the knee, which bends at 90 degrees. And then finally, he has a ratcheting ankle pivot, which can actually pivot pretty deep, I'd say. So, very nice articulation here on Menasor. It's actually really good for someone this big. And again, he's so solid, he doesn't feel like he's going to fall over or topple over anytime soon. Oh my god. Now, since Motormaster slash Menasor is the Transformers Legacy Commander class of the year, let's try, or of 2022, let's show off some other Commander class figures, starting with the Siege Commander class Jetfire. And then, kind of awkward to do comparisons with, here he is with Commander class Skylynx. So I just wanted to be clear, I'm not trying to flex on anybody with Jetfire or Skylynx. Okay, now I'm flexing with the, the HasLab Star Saber compared with Menasor. And that is basically it for my review on the Transformers Legacy Commander class, or, the big combiner, the Menasor Combiner. And overall, I think this guy is, in fact, really good. As his own big robot, he's really, really good. But my only complaint lies in, again, those legs keep sliding off, and it is quite annoying. But one other thing that I also feel like this guy is lacking is height. Because, as you saw in the comparisons, he's basically the same size as Jetfire. I feel like combiners are supposed to be a little bit taller. But overall, the actual figures themselves and the combined form are really good. And again, I have done a bunch of individual reviews on all of them, so you can see my opinions on the individual guys. But I wanted to dedicate a whole video just to Menasor, because he's such a great figure that he deserves his own video, instead of me cramming it in with a bunch of the other guys. And that is basically it for my review on the Commander class Combiner Menasor. And yeah, I like him a lot. Like, yes, some people could say that he's just a robot with the other guys tacked on, but it's still a combiner. And that's just accurate to both his toy and the cartoon. That's just how he is. If I had to give this figure a rating, again, a combined together as the one figure, because I have given individual ratings to every other figure. If I had to rate this guy together, combined as a whole, he is, overall, I give him a solid 9 out of 10. Very close to 10 out of 10. It's just, again, there's those tiny little nitpicks that really keep me from wanting to put him in the very, very top. But again, this guy did end up being really high on my top figures of last year. So go and check out that video if you missed out on it. So yes, that is basically it for my review. If you guys enjoyed it, be sure to subscribe to the channel for more Transformers and action figure videos. Like the video, comment down below what you guys think. And again, thanks for 500 subscribers, by the way. That also instantly dates when I made this video, but anyway. That is it for this review. Thank y'all for watching. This has been Briximus Prime, and I'll catch you guys next time.